Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Request Network space. We've been cooking, and maybe that's why you've seen some silence on grants. We've been upgrading our infrastructure. We've released the templates, the SDK. We've now released an API, which will allow basically anybody to connect to our awesome infrastructure. And we've got some big news for next week, which Ben has already been privy to. But yeah, without further ado, I am here with Ben Shafii, who represents Hyprsqrl. He's our latest grantee, and congratulations for that. Clap, clap,
Thank
clap, 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 clap.
you.
Welcome to the ecosystem. We've been chatting for a couple of months already, but until we sign a contract, it's hard to tell people what's going on
Yeah,
until you got
exactly.
that black on white. Um, and it's I'm very happy to be here with you. It's been a while since we had a space with a grantee, and I hope that the information that we're gonna get out of you is gonna help people and
Hope so
businesses
too.
alike. So, hi Ben, how are you? And can you tell us something about yourself?
Yo, so Alex, it's also the first time we actually talk. I hear your voice, so that's nice to put a voice on a PFP with your face on it. So I'm Ben. I've been in crypto slash fintech space for around 10 years right now. Started initially in like legacy finance. And actually, Request Network was kind of my gateway drug into crypto. What do I mean by that? Is the first time I actually touched crypto was as part of working at Request Network many years ago when they started. And I got my first Ethereum when I was actually doing work in crypto. So that was my first contact
Yeah,
invoicing a crypto company.
I didn't want to
uh,
spoil this, but yeah, Ben was an engineering manager at Request Network a really long time ago. Back when people had no idea that you can, do crypto invoicing or do crypto payroll. It was just a dream.
It was just a dream and the Wild West at that time, a really big Wild West. And so that's me in a couple sentences.
Well, let me think about it. That was 6 years ago, right? So what
Yeah.
have you been up to in the past 5, 6 years?
So since then, I co-founded a venture studio, launched many products as part of the venture studio
Mm.
itself and also outside of it. And most recently, I was part of Gnosis Pay, which is a company that makes debit cards, self-custodial debit cards, where you can pay with your crypto. That was like around last year. I quit in June, and since then I was kind of ideating around something new to do, and I knew I wanted to do something with legacy finance on one side and crypto on the other side.
So there will be a Gnosis question a bit later, and we'll talk about that
Yeah.
at length, so to say. Um, so you've been around, so to
I've
say.
been around. I've been
Yeah.
around.
And you're certainly not a stranger to crypto invoicing.
Mhm.
So Hyprsqrl, where did it come from? What is just can you give us a Eli 5? Can you explain like I'm 5 what it is, what it
Yeah.
does?
So Hyprsqrl is a lot of things, but a simple way to think about it at the moment is that it's a bank account managed by AI agents.
Hmm.
Eventually, not today, it'll cover the entire stack from receiving money on a bank account, finding best yield for your money, doing your taxes, and more. But for now, though, we started with a simple feature. We started with the beginning, money coming in. So that was our first integration, have connecting Hyprsqrl to Request Network to allow people to invoice money from other people. We have like light AI agents now running. Most of them are interpreting, like you can basically feed in your emails into a special form, and that will kind of extract all the information and pre-fill your entire invoice with it.
Thank you. And was it a personal experience that made you start this? I remember saying something, reading something actually about ADHD.
Yeah, so personal experience is lots of money lost for admin work. So on one side, there is, hunting down invoices. So when you actually send invoices and, people don't pay them right away, you kind of need to follow that up. But in the meantime, your bank account, is not being able to leverage the like maximal capital that you could have. So that's kind of like money that you didn't like directly lose, but money that you cannot win because you're hunting down invoices. And on the other side, there's actually money loss, like, not submitting taxes on time or,
Oh yeah.
filling taxes in a wrong kind of way. And that specifically cost me, I think, thousands of euros in total. So that was the starting pain point of Hyprsqrl that I wanted to solve.
Ben, I still haven't paid my taxes for last year.
Oh
I'm
man,
not
don't
ashamed
don't
to admit it. Yeah, and
don't tell me about
I'm having such a rough
it.
time with documents and filling them in and everything. And I did actually I contacted the tax consultant, right?
Mhm.
An actual person, not an AI. And I gotta tell you, the help they gave me put me in more trouble.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Exactly. You think you think you're paying some people and they make your your life easier, but actually they just keep asking you more stuff and making you do more things. And in the end you procrastinate on that and you still haven't filled out your taxes.
that's entirely correct, and I would love a platform to help me avoid human interaction while making sure that my taxes are filled correctly.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, so which of these things that you mentioned are actually working for Hyprsqrl right now? If I sign up to Hyprsqrl,
Yeah,
what
it's a
features do I
good
have
question.
access to right now?
So
Yeah.
if you were to sign up today, you would be able to create invoices and receive money either in fiat, crypto, or yeah, fiat and some cryptocurrency. But we don't do the bank account part or the crypto wallet part, so you would need still to manage that on your side. So this all uses request network under the hood. So you'd see a classical invoice form with a chat on the right that kind of helps you fill out that invoices based on like information that you have laying around from an email, etc. So that's live today.
Hmm, okay, fair enough. I mean, the core functionality is there, right? So it's gonna scan the screen and it's gonna automatically send the invoice, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
that's right.
More time for, things that matter.
Yeah,
Um,
genau, as they say in Germany.
yeah, richtig. You mentioned this financial inbox concept. Can
Mhm.
you explain how, what this is or how it can improve a freelancer's life?
So the financial inbox is
A very cool name, by
what
the way.
yeah. It's kind of based on this skeuomorphic element. So just FYI, skeuomorphic means making things that look like they did in the past. So it was used a lot in the beginning for the iPhone, where your mailbox literally looked like a mailbox icon. Your book stand literally looked like a book stand, kind of in real life. So it's just an element to kind of so the financial inbox is basically to link people to what they know about emails. So in like V1 of Hyprsqrl, it will not be fully automated. It will not be AI agents managing everything on your own. First of all, it will scare people, and second of all, I don't think the technology is there today. So what it will feel more like is as if you had your own personal CFO sending you email with action items that require your attention. So when we talk
Hmm.
about the financial inbox, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, so you see it more of an assistant than an actual
Yeah,
inbox.
yeah, like imagine your Gmail coming in, like, subject line, hey, you need to do your taxes tomorrow, and then it feels like a human CFO kind of wrote you a message, and you can still decide what to do about that information.
Okay, and this future that you envision, once I get this email that I have to do my
Mm,
taxes from the
mm,
assistant or
mhm.
AI CFO, will the AI CFO do the taxes or will it just notify me?
I mean, it will go step by step. So the way that it will look like is in the beginning, it will just notify you. Eventually, it will also fill it out, and then later, it will also like send it, to humans who can do a last check just to make you extra safe. But the real end goal is agents automated from end to end, so you wouldn't do even anything. So that's like the very like
Oh
10-year
my God.
plan.
That would be that's music to my ears. Thank you, Ben. So I was telling you that I do have a Gnosis question, and
Right.
it's not just because I'm going to the first meetup that they do in Berlin tomorrow. It's
Oh,
actually the
nice.
first IRL meetup that they do. And I was going to ask you, you did work for Gnosis in the past, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So it's okay if I brag about the grant to the
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Yeah,
Gnosis staff,
yeah, you
right?
can back. That's fine,
Perfect.
completely fine.
Perfect. Then the actual question: what initially drove your decision to focus on your e-payments and
Yeah.
Gnosis chain?
Yeah, so just for context, EuroE is a token created by a company called Monerium.
Hmm.
And what it basically allows you to do is off and on ramping. So you can easily send a normal SEPA bank transfer onto an IBAN account and have an equivalent amount of EuroE appear on the other. So to answer your question, like I think you're like the off and on ramping like advancements in Europe are not talked enough. Monerium allows you to do something that is not even possible in the US. So it has no equivalent here
Aha.
in the United States. It allows you
So
to issue
that's
like
why you went with Monerium.
yes.
Okay, and there's all this talk about European accelerationism. That's such a hard word, and more like the inexistence of it, and how you can do so much more innovation in the US right now. And I do think that's not entirely true. And I'm very happy that you're telling me that this is coming from Europe out of a
Yeah.
company that we all know, Monerium.
Yeah, so and this specific example about off and on ramping and making it really easy for user, I think Europe kind of infrastructure is surprisingly more developed there. So that's also one of the reasons why I focus on Europe in general in the beginning.
Makes sense. It was surprising, and I really wanted to ask you this since I knew that you were moving to San Francisco to pursue, the startup dreams. And
Yeah,
then you focus on basically Euro stablecoin payments. So in my
yeah.
mind, it was a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, yeah, it's I understand that, and it makes total sense that it's a disconnect. But you gotta do what you gotta do, and if that is the thing, that's where we can serve the customers
No,
best
no, no.
first. That's where we're starting for.
Totally get it, Ben. And like I said, I'm proud of anything that comes out of Europe. I strongly believe that Europe remains a hotbed of innovation. Maybe it's not as loud as the US, but it is a hotbed of innovation. And let's not forget of, work-life balance and so many things that we have in the EU.
Let me ask you a question. Have you used Mandarin before?
Um, knowingly, no.
Okay. How,
So
how do you
very important. No.
how do you deal with like your salary? Is it like in full fiat at the moment, or?
So I take my salary in fiat, yes.
Mhm.
Obviously, you can have an option to do half-half or full fee or full crypto,
Yeah.
but I'm doing fiat. And obviously, no surprise here, I'm using Request Finance. And obviously, we're using third parties
Mhm, mhm,
to
mhm.
make sure
Makes sense.
that from stablecoin I get a fiat in my IBAN account, in my bank account. Um,
Very cool. Very cool.
there's developments from Request
Mhm,
Network
mhm.
that we will be talking about later about on ramping and off ramping and other things like this. So let's go back to our
Sure.
sheep before I drop something that I shouldn't drop. Le- you know you mentioned that you're using Gnosis chain. What about any
Yes.
other chains?
So
Because there's
we
so many, right?
eventually, yeah, we will eventually support like obviously all the EVMs first, and then later on, like we're targeting things like Solana. But we made a conscious decision in the beginning to focus on Gnosis chain because it's kind of a strategic sequencing move in the sense that we plan on giving our users a debit card powered by Gnosis Pay. This works on Gnosis chain. And so it just makes sense that in the very early stages, we would do as much as possible on that chain.
I understand. Anything that you'd like me to ask him tomorrow?
Do they have a grant program?
Well, if they don't, maybe we can set up one tomorrow. Anyway, let's we've talked about so many companies. Let's talk about Request Network. You know that company?
I've heard of it. Like, yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so many people at events tell me like, Request Network, you guys are still around? I remember buying your coin. It was the first coin I bought. And then we're like, yeah, we're still around, used by thousands of companies, settled a billion on chain, still around. So let me ask you, how is the request network generation going? Is it complete? Were you satisfied? Is this something that we're missing? Maybe you can give you a couple of insights into the integration, even technical insights.
Yeah, so the one liner is the integration was smooth, like, and the few little quirks I ended up encountering basically were resolved by just chatting in our kind of setup groups chat with the request network team. Something that I really would want actually is
Go for it.
you know how it's kind of a tendency right now in the developer relation world to have a
Mm.
integration prompt where you basically copy paste a prompt into your app like in Cursor and like and then basically this would integrate automatically with request network. I think that would be really, really cool for future developers and to facilitate future integration. Just one prompt to drop to AI and it integrates it in the app.
You can absolutely bet that I've written all of that you said down, even though recording, I've written this down so I can pursue it afterwards. Um, that's that sounds like something I'm gonna spend a couple of days on. And luckily, we have a hackathon next week at ETH Bucharest, so I can test this
Oh,
out.
yeah, that's a
Hackathons are
good
for
moment.
testing. Whoever thinks hackathons are for, finding the next founder of Uniswap or something like that,
Oh,
probably wrong.
I saw your answer to that tweet with people who spend 100K on a hackathon hoping they would fund the
Man,
next
I wish that was
gigantic.
me. I'm not gonna lie. I wish that was me dropping 100K on a hackathon. 10K for bounties, 90K for partying.
Right, exactly. That's how it works, right?
Truly. Speaking of money, it's not 100K, but you did get 10K grant from us from Request Network. What will this grant enable Hyprsqrl to achieve next?
So basically, it's gonna help us unlock the next milestone, which is a full banking integration. So the end result of when that bank is completely, when that grant is completely uses, like we have a full-on banking integration. And the way that this grant is being used is through bounties. So we will set up a small bounty program, and also a lot basically on AI kind of coding tools. We're effectively 10x, 100x more productive today, but it still costs money to use all these tools. So that's how we're gonna basically make use of the grant.
Thank you very much. Very wise answer. I'm surprised you didn't mention, the usual stuff about partying and whatnot.
So sorry, 9K for that it would be for a boat party. The 1K for that will be for bounties. I need to be specific.
I knew San Francisco was a cap. I knew you were going to Miami, man. Well, this was all about the present, and I think I've just asked you a single question at the beginning about the future.
Yeah,
But let
yeah,
me ask you again.
yeah.
What lies in the future for Hyprsqrl? Like, what excites you the most? What feature excites you the most? I've noticed that you have everything nicely organized in
Mhm.
phases on your roadmap,
Yeah.
quotation marks around the roadmap. So, which of those things is the most exciting for you?
Um, it's more like a unlock of use case if I really feel like I'm building this for myself. So for me, the real crazy
Mm.
unlock is when this actually will make my life easier, and I'll actually not spend any more time on admin or significantly reduce the time I spend on financial and admin stuff. So what I'm really excited about is first, so it's going to be in multiple stages. First, allowing people to receive money, then allowing people to spend their money, And the next stage, and this is where everything will come together, is automating all of this together. I think that's the thing I'm most excited about. It might take a while until everything is really fully automated, but that's the journey I'm in right now.
To fully automate everything that
Yeah, from money coming
wastes
in.
time and
Yeah,
just has a burden on your life,
exactly. From
is what
money
you're
coming
saying.
in, making sure that you're making the best out of the capital that is sitting on your bank account, making sure taxes are paid on time, making sure you're all doing all of this while being compliant. I think many people, and at least that was my kind of thing in the beginning as well, when I joined a crypto company, I was kind of in the first months, I think it was just too much overhead to be paid in crypto. I needed to think, how to deal with taxes on one side. I needed to think how to, I mean, at that time it was really crazy. So no one knew about anything on how to handle the taxes legally. I needed to think, okay, when I finish doing those 4 transactions, how much money will be there be left on my bank account that I'm actually going to be able to spend? And I think today we live in a different world. We have like really good infrastructure to allow people to make more money using crypto rails. We have people who understand the compliance side of it. The only thing that's missing is tying everything together in a way that it's not a cognitive burden for everyone to be able to do that.
Thank you for a very elegant answer. I was expecting you to say debit cards. 2 words. Yeah, just debit cards. Debit cards, bro. But now that I said it, what about those debit cards? Can you tell us something about them?
Yeah, so that's the next kind of step that we're planning on integrating. We're going to be using Gnosis Pay, first of all, because they allow people to work on top of their infrastructure. It's an infrastructure product, and we'll be able to provide each and every customers a way to kind of get their money outside of crypto by doing daily spends, like subscriptions, buying your bread, paying for I pay for my rent with my Gnosis Pay debit card. So these kind of things will be enabled for also all Hyprsqrl customers.
That sweet cashback.
Yeah, exactly. Cashback on SF rent. That's pro tip if anyone is.
Thank you for the alpha. Yes. I remember reading on your materials about Hyprsqrl
Mhm.
as he described it as a bad idea that got better.
Yeah.
Can you
The more you
expand on
hear
that?
about
That's
it.
my last question. I swear, that's my last question then.
um yeah, I think great ideas basically sound bad in the beginning, and the more you kind of dig and ask questions around them, the more you're like, hey, this might actually be an amazing idea. Even though that first moment you thought, okay, that's terrible. It's like, if you think about Airbnb, you can think like, oh, air mattresses that people can rent in other people's rooms. That sounds like a terrible idea. And then you dig and you find out there's like a deeper core at the center of it, but it was not obvious to see it.
Okay. Again, like your answers are very eloquent, man. You do great. Like you were answering, you were asking about marketing. I would just go and speak if I were you. Go to events and speak, man. Apply as a speaker.
Maybe I should do that. I'm in lock-in mode right now, so that's phase 2 of Hyprsqrl. Once I have it built enough infrastructure, I will go out into the world and venture.
As usual, anything you need from request, we are
um,
there.
yeah, cool.
Anytime, anywhere.
Great. Tell me if you guys come do an event here on this side of the Atlantic.
Except that.
Except that. Gonna risk
Anytime,
the.
anywhere except the USA.
Fair.
We will be in Bucharest next week, and as far as I know, Paris Blockchain Week in 2 weeks.
Ooh,
And
exciting.
then in June at UCC in Cannes.
Yeah, right. How's that? How
Do
is
you have
sort
any travel plans?
Not yet. I just landed here, so I'm like, I'm just making a home for myself here, trying to get back into my routine, etc. So I'm very sedentary. I'm like an old person in my mind right now. So
Look, I look forward to hearing the YC announcement or the Founders Found announcement, whatever comes first. I fingers crossed for you, obviously. And if there's anything that you want to add at the end here, a call to action, maybe plug your socials. You want to announce an airdrop?
yeah. I'm not announcing an airdrop today. um, no,
You
so if you want to follow Hyprsqrl, you can follow us on Twitter on _Hyprsqrl without the vowels. Sign up to the waitlist if there's something you're interested about in automating your financial life, and DM me if you want to get access first or if you have some feedback today. I'll also be creating a lot of GitHub issues. So if you're a dev, I will open up some bounties in the next couple days/week.
Oh, nice. So an opportunity to make some money, right?
Exactly, opportunity to make money.
Excellent.
And this may or
Maybe.
may not grant a special airdrop in the future. May or may not.
Oh, I did not hear that. You did not say that. I don't know. Cool. Thank you for joining, Ben. I know that you it's quite early there in San Francisco, and thank you
This.
for waking up earlier for this. I truly appreciate your time, and I appreciate what you're building.
Thanks,
Everybody else
Alex.
that joined, again, thank you everybody for spending time with us here. It wasn't a long space. We like to keep it short and informative, but again, I truly appreciate each and everybody's time for spending it here.
Thanks, Alex. Have a great
Thank you,
evening.
Ben. Thank you, everybody.